Travis Gotti, we're here with True School Sports.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we up in this motherfucker, Los Angeles, the Forum.
What's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, let's talk about Kell Brook, because Kell Brook, he's a fighter that, we're looking at Kell Brook this year. He's fighting at 154. And we're still like waiting, because Kell Brook is looked at by pretty much everybody as damaged goods. This is a guy that just a couple years ago, he fought Golovkin in a fight he shouldn't have taken, got beat the hell up, came back to 147 his next fight against Errol Spence, got beat the hell up, got both of his eye sockets broken, and he's been trying to rebuild his career ever since. He's never been quite the same since then. Even put out had a pedestrian performance against Michael Zarafa. So with that being said, Eddie Hearn has made his next fight. He announced his next fight, and he'll be taking on the number 7 ranked WBA junior middleweight contender in Mark DeLuca of New England, of Massachusetts. So, interesting, somewhat of an interesting fight, because, it'll let us know where Kell Brook is at, because, I've had a chance to watch Mark DeLuca fight. I saw Mark DeLuca fight once on the Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, was it Suleki undercard? Yeah, it was back in June of last year, about in 2019, June of 2019. I saw him fight on the undercard. He fought a guy named Brandon Brewer, won a decision, beat the guy up pretty soundly, to be honest with you. And when you watch the Luca fight, he is a he is a C-class fighter. He's a C-class domestic level American fighter. Slow hands, slow feet. He needs you to sit there and trade with him in order for him to really have any success. So if Kell Brook is still got anything left in the tank, he'll use his legs. He'll use that piston-like jab he's always had, and he should beat this guy. Maybe he stops him. This is the same Mark DeLuca who a couple years ago he fought a guy named Walter Wright. Walter Wright, a tough domestic level gatekeeper type of opponent, or journeyman, I should say. And he lost a split decision with him, and he had to avenge that loss. Okay, so Mark DeLuca is nothing special. He's nothing special of a fighter. He's nothing Kell Brook hasn't seen in the ring. So if he loses this fight, his career is pretty much over. His career is over. It should be over, and we should stick the proverbial fork in him, because, he was pissed. Like, since the Errol Spence fight where he got his second eye socket broken, you had him fight Sergey Rabchenko, who was a decent opponent, because Rabchenko was a former Tony Harrison opponent. I believe he might have even challenged for a world title at one point, but don't quote me on that. Stopped him with relative ease. It looked great, that fight. Then he comes back against Michael Zarafa and puts on a piss poor display of boxing. So now he's fighting Mark DeLuca, who is really a C-class fighter. And Eddie Hearn is adamant. Eddie Hearn is adamant about this fight for Kell Brook, saying, I quote, "This is a dangerous, dangerous fight for Kell Brook, who is coming back after a year layoff in a fight that he didn't look so great in against Michael Zarafa. By the way, Zarafa went and beat Jeff Horn, then just lost to Jeff in an absolute war a couple weeks ago. That win for Kell Brook over Zarafa actually looks a bit better now than it did at the time." And that's what it is. So there you have it. So we look at Kell Brook. We look at Kell Brook being 33 years old. How much does he have left in the tank at this point? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. And I think this fight with DeLuca will be a good barometer of that, because Kell Brook is somebody that does like to sit there and trade. So I could see a scenario in this fight where he decides to trade with DeLuca. And DeLuca, while he is slow-footed and he's got slow hands, if he does land, he's got not elite punching power, but he's got solid punching power. Not the best punching power, but he's a decent puncher. And we're looking at Kell Brook. We're looking at him fighting Mark DeLuca. DeLuca's ranked 7 by the WBA, so it looks like that's the route Eddie Hearn wants to go. Right now, the current WBA champion is Julian Williams. So, listen, look, I love Kell Brook. I'm a big Kell Brook fan, but they don't want none of that Julian Williams smoke. Straight up, they don't want that smoke. But you got guys like Jorge Cota in that division. This is a pretty much PBC dominated division, so I'm not sure what route Eddie Hearn would go. Maybe they can go the WBO route and get a Patrick Teixeira fight, because Patrick Teixeira is a Bob Arum fighter, or he is with top. I believe he's a top rank because he fought on a top rank card, but don't quote me on that. And Eddie Hearn and Bob Arum have worked together in the past, so that could be a potential, title fight for Kell Brook. Maybe he fights Liam Smith, because Liam Smith is pretty highly ranked. He's a decent fighter. He's a solid guy. He's ranked across all the sanctioning bodies. He's a respectable name. So, if Kell Brook is going to do anything left in his boxing career, this fight has to be. He has to make a statement. This fight. This has to be the Sergey Rabchenko fight 2.0. He has to go on there. He has to treat Mark DeLuca like the C-class fighter he is, and not give him any sort of highlights in this fight. I need to see the Special K return. I need to see that guy return. Whether or not that guy still exists, I'm not so sure. But the big fights that are being talked about for Kell Brook in the summer, should he win this fight against Mark DeLuca, are Liam Smith, Jesse Vargas, and these are big names. I would anticipate that he probably gets Jesse Vargas after Jesse Vargas more than likely loses to Mikey Garcia. And it'll probably be looked at as a crossroads fight. So it'll be a perfect fight to make in the summer. Two guys that was actually supposed to fight at welterweight, but didn't fight at welterweight. So a battle of two ex-welterweight champions fighting at junior middleweight. So I ain't mad at it. But yeah, Kell Brook versus Mark DeLuca, February 8th in Sheffield. We'll see if the ex-Demetrius Andrade sparring partner can go in there and put the last fork in the career of Kell Brook, because Eddie Hearn said it. Eddie Hearn said it himself. If Kell Brook loses to Mark DeLuca, his career is over. If he beats Mark DeLuca, this is Eddie Hearn speaking. If he beats Mark DeLuca, and he's a favorite to do so, but it's a very tough fight, he will go on and fight Amir Khan. Who knows? Which I don't even want to get into that, because we've already talked about that damn fight so many times. I'm over it. If it never happens, I'm done. You can't rule out maybe fighting a Terrence Crawford fight, because as many of us know, Terrence Crawford does need opponents, and Kell Brook is a name. So I doubt that Kell or that Terrence will come out to 154, but I could see Kell going down to 147, killing himself to make the weight and fighting Terrence Crawford. Now I wouldn't mind seeing it, because I'm a Kell Brook fan. I don't think he'd win. I think he'd get schooled, to be honest with you. But if Terrence can get any opponents, then make it happen. So that's the news. That's the talk on Kell Brook. I'm hoping, this is the optimistic part. This is the optimistic part of me speaking right now. There's been this notion that 154 has always been Kell Brook's best weight. So I'm hoping that somehow, some way, he can go on and he can still parlay himself some great wins at 154 and realize some of that talent at 154 and show people what many people in the UK have been saying about him for years, that at 154, Kell Brook is something special to deal with. So I doubt that'll happen, but we'll see. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Will Kell Brook's career, I should say, be over by the end of 2020? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you take the time to subscribe. Like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just giving Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.
Boom, it's your boy Big Baby Miller, straight out of Brooklyn. You're watching True School Sports. Tune in, sucker.